We are back. Hi guys. This is now literally take 1,000. So let your girl talk to you like how she would a friend, because you guys are my friends. You are my YouTube family, you're my Facebook family, you're my social media family, and I love y'all. And so I think that I could talk to you guys from a place of I have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, and nothing to gain. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background because people have been asking me about my podcast that I did where I interviewed my husband about how he finds marriage, what are some of the things that he has appreciated about us being married, and what he had to stop doing and start doing since we've been married, and what made me such a great wife. So we're not going to cover all of that in this segment. We're going to take it and break it down into a few pieces because I was talking to a friend of mine like, maybe I should make a book and call it The Good Wife. How to get your man and the respect that you need from your man. So, you're going to get some ticks. I'm sorry, I guess it's living out here. You're going to get some tips and tricks as to what to do and what not to do in order to have the perfect relationship, or to have at least the perfect guy. But those things tend to go hand in hand. Never mind my laundry in the background. It's just that kind of day. And so, kids are here trying to watch TV, and I'm like, no, it's not that kind of day. It's Monday. Oh, Lord. That's real life for you. That's how it is here. I'm really here. It's right there, Cynthia. Alright, so let's take a trip down back memory lane. Why don't we? Alright, so basically, me and this guy were supposed to get married. And I had met him while I was on a trip of self-discovery. And I was on uh, a journey of self-growth. And that led me to this talk show in Belize, where I'm from. And this woman heard me, and she was like, I want her to represent the country of Belize at this event, which was supposed to be the 150th anniversary of the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. And it was a really, really big deal, right? It was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for the country. And everybody was just like super duper excited about going. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the details of how I ended up there, because that in itself was a story. Girl was not supposed to go. Everybody was surprised when I got the chance to go. And so it was quite a shock that I ended up in Switzerland. And the event itself was super duper amazing, and I had such a great, awesome time. It was the year Michael Jackson died. Oh, really, really significant times, guys. Really significant times. And so anyways, I was there and I met this guy, and he was super duper cute and super cool, but he was hella young. Your girl felt like put the cuffs on me, because you were just we are not on the same wavelength. I have a child already. At that time, my daughter was, I think, about 5 or 6 years old. And, I just felt like maybe this wasn't a good idea. So we kept in touch. I invited him to Belize, and he came like within like 4 or 5 months. He was that mystified. We were totally infatuated with each other. And so I went to visit. Long story short, I ended up in Holland, where he's from. Nothing against the Dutch, but I ended up in Holland, where he's from, with his family, and they have like this really huge house. Like, I was mystified by that, and I was just like, yes, this is my husband. I'm gonna marry this guy, and I'm gonna go get my daughter, and we're gonna move here and live happily ever after. Well, that didn't happen. Few things happened, ladies. His mom hated my guts. His dad didn't teach him, just a lot of crappy things happened, and I could get into the details of all of that. But basically, I was playing double dutch, as we say. There were a lot of things that I wasn't clear on, that I thought that I could get away with, that I ended up not getting away with on both ends, because there was a lot of other people who were involved in our relationship that should not have been involved in our relationship. And so I say all of that to say, because I will get a chance to speak on the details. And maybe I should. Maybe I should tell you what happened. So what had happened was I met this guy while in between the back and forth and traveling of me and my ex fiance. I had met this other guy and he was married, and I was just like, he's cute, but he's not the one, right? But we could play in the meantime, between time, but he needs to get his shit together. Like, I was always clear on where I stood based on a relationship before those men that I had been in for maybe 5 years, back and forth, that there were certain things that I had to stop doing. And so my discovery process about where I needed to be in terms of being able to find the right man for me was a very, very ongoing process, because at the end of the day, I thought that I could cheat faith and cheat love by being who I thought I needed to be. So I would fake change, and I would fake understand that I knew what love really was, but I really didn't, because when you love someone and when you love yourself, you don't dishonor yourself. And so I dishonored my ex-fiance, and I dishonored um, the other guy who was really interested in me, who had left his wife so that we could be together, because I had laid down some ground rules, ladies, about how that was supposed to run, and it wasn't gonna fly the way he wanted it to. He had to go handle that first before he even tried to even talk to me. You know what I mean by try to even talk to me? Okay, you know what I'm saying? So basically, that didn't run the way it was supposed to. He went and got divorced, came back, and this all happened while my fiance was away. And so when my fiance when me and oh boy hooked up, who came back, he was like, "Yo, I divorced my wife and everything's cool, everything's gravy." I was like, "Oh, you serious?" Now we got a problem. Because the other guy's like, "Hey, I want to marry you and this and that." And he did this over, like, this is the other thing. Like, if you have a vision of what your husband's supposed to do and supposed to look like, that, like, certain things are also having to be, you have to make those expectations clear to the other person so that they meet your expectations, or at least have the choice of telling you that they can or can't. Don't just assume. That's rule number one. Make your expectations clear and ask for what you want. So I was able to do that with the one guy because I wasn't really into him like that. But the other guy, who was my ex-fiance, I was a little bit more committed to, and so I was really afraid of saying what I wanted because I was afraid of losing him. And so when he proposed, I was surprised and I was excited, but I had already compiled a pile of shit that I had needed to clear on and didn't clear on. And so that was a bad idea. And instead of saying, you know what, stop, let me just be honest with myself, at least myself. Let me be honest with myself and say, you know what, this is what's happening here at the moment. I know you don't expect me to sit around here twiddling my thumbs. I've grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and that lifestyle includes affection, physical affection, sex. Even though we didn't really get intimate in the beginning, we need to speak to this issue. And he lied about some things too, which is really not really about him. Rule number 2. It is not about the other person. It is all about you, honey. Everything in your life that you have, want, desire, and have made a disaster is your fault. Yeah. Good and bad. It's all your fault. And I'm going to tell you why right now. So I'm playing double dutch because your homegirl was a player, okay? I have nothing to hide, I have nothing to gain, and I have nothing to lose by saying this. I played all ends of the field. All. Yes. You think it, I played it, and I played it well. And I've never thought that it would catch up with me because I just thought that I could cheat faith. So I'm here with this guy in Holland, crumbled up the other guy who left his wife and threw him in the trash, basically, because he was falling in love too. And I was just like, you crazy. Things unfolded in that relationship that made me realize that he was never going to be the one. No. And then I had to look at myself as to why I attracted that person into my life. And I thought at the time, you know what, let me just put that in the back of my head. It'll all work out in the end. And we'll just skip off into the sunset, live happily ever after. So, what had happened, well, at least as I was told by my fiance later on, ex-fiance, is that he called him, and I don't know what he told him or showed him or gave to him information wise that confirmed that we were having a relationship while he was away. um he went total apeshit sideways. He didn't even tell me. He was just like, you know what, at this time I was at his mom's house, his parents' house, which is like a 3-level house mansion type situation. And he calls me from work and he's like, I'm not coming home. And I knew it in my bones that it was because somehow the other guy had told him what had happened. And I didn't cop to it. I had the opportunity. That was my out. That was the time that I could have come clean and said, you know what, we have to have a conversation. There's something I need to share with you. And whatever happens, I understand. At least let me just pack my shit and go. Or let me leave with some dignity that I at least told you the truth. Your girl did not do that, because I still was on that dumb shit feeling like I could cheat the system and cheat death. And the world just has a way of bringing things full circle around. And so he found out and he was devastated and he couldn't even look at me. Like, maybe he thought that, if I see her, I'm going to kill her. I don't care. I don't care who's around. I'm just going to get a gun and shoot her head off. Maybe that was for the best. And so we had a long conversation and he didn't tell me why he wasn't coming home or why he felt the way he did. And so I kind of figured what was happening, and I tried everything and I said everything that I had said before and done everything that I had done before to make him do what I want him to do, and none of it worked. And so he was he stuck it in his mind that he was going to take me to London and leave me there stranded. And he didn't tell me that that's what he was going to do. And so we get there and he leads me to London under the pretense that we are going to get married. We're going to elope. And all the while he's knowing that that's not the case. And so he tells me to go to the dry cleaner so that he can get his shirt ironed or, something, so that he can have more clothes for his next interview, because he was going to start a job in London so that we could all start a life together there. So I leave and I go and I come back and the room is empty and there's nothing there. There's just an empty hotel room with only my stuff. He had just checked out. So, I have a cousin, and I had kept in touch with some friends who were in England at the time, and they helped me to figure some stuff out. But for the space of a while, I was homeless, jobless, and penniless, and didn't know anything. At least I was in a place where I could speak the language. I mean, gosh, if that had happened in Holland, then I would have really, really, really broken down. But I did break down, and I was just in that moment. I knew that something was pretty crazy. The night before, I had this strange dream that my grandfather and I were making a salad, and he had taken the knife away from me. And guys, as I'm telling the story right now, the knife, holy crap! Like, stabbing somebody in the back is really a huge metaphor for this story that I'm telling, because the knife was taken away from me because that's what I was doing. I was stabbing this guy in the back, and I had convinced myself. Sometimes we lie and we convince ourselves that the lie is okay to tell, and it's okay to hurt that person, because as long as they don't know that they're being hurt, everything is going to be fine with the world. And that's not how it works. Everything comes back full circle, and everything has a karmatic system to it. So what goes around comes around, and I had basically willed that into my life from the moment I agreed to spend time with another man outside of my relationship. The good news is that all of that happened in order to lead me back home to my country so that I could meet my husband. Because the moment I got off the plane, I swear I might have been home no more than a few weeks, like literally 2 weeks before I met my husband. And because I had been through so much, I was willing to do whatever it takes to stay real and to stay true and to stay honest at the bottom of my heart with who I really am and what I really want out of a relationship. No excuses, no apologies, and no compromises. I'm not going to compromise myself. I'm not going to compromise my partner. I'm not going to compromise my beliefs, especially my beliefs. And I'm going to put that all out there up front so that you have a choice. You may lie to my face and tell me, sure, you're cool, you're down with it. But because of the women's intuition and because I've been through all of the crap that I've been through, I learn now that I have to pay attention to the signs and make sure that I do something about those signs immediately. And so I know that I can do that because I know what the consequences of not doing that are. And I know that because I really, really, really believe in my heart that I deserve, and I really do believe and want true love. I'm not even going to get into all the other side shit that happened between us getting married and meeting. But the moment I made a conscious decision to stay true to me, yeah, that's lesson number 3, girl. Stay true to you and be prepared to lose that man in order to keep him in the way and light and honor, in the way and light that truly honors who you are. Because men, my daughter is like losing it right now. She wants my attention so bad, as always. Men don't really change. They only do what they're supposed to when called into account. And so that's lesson number 4. You're the one that has to change. You're the one that sets the boundaries and the precedent of what a good relationship looks like for you. You model for people the kind of love that you want by the kind of love you accept and give. And there are really no victims in this game of love. Oh no. That's a great thing about what my ex-fiance said when he finally came clean and told me that, he'd been in touch with my ex, and my ex said this and that and the other. He told me, you know what, you act like you're the victim. You're not the victim here. I didn't do you nothing. You got exactly what you deserve because you played me the way you did. And at that time it was hard to hear, and I was very hurt about that, and I said what I had to say about that. But at the end of the day, he was so right. He was so, so, so right. All of those things and all of that situation I brought into my life by doing the things that I did. I brought that and attracted that into my life because that's what I was projecting out into the world. I project unworthiness and disrespect because I behave that way. And so that's really it. There is a man out there for you, but you have to first be the woman that that man wants first in order to get him. You're not going to get him any other way. And you could feel like manipulating your way into his bed and heart is going to work. I got news for you, honey. Men are stupid, but they ain't that stupid. They have intuition too. And if a man goes along with a program like that, you're gonna wake up one of these days and just find out that that's not gonna hold it. That's not gonna keep it together. You gotta be true to you. You gotta make sure that you do what you do from the bottom of your heart and be open and willing to love honestly, truly, and with pride and dignity for yourself. So, it's been story time. I hope you had your cup of tea, because I sure did.